Dear viewers, welcome back to my channel, The World of Least Explored Phenomena. In the last two episodes, we have been talking about parapsychology, the subject which is least known and is also least explored. Parapsychology we all know, but we don't know much about parapsychology. Psychology is a subject which deals in human behavior where the perception is through normal senses. But parapsychology is beyond that. It deals in human behavior when the perception occurs without using the five senses. It encompasses, for example, telepathy, which is a mind to mind connection where perception is not through the normal five senses. It deals in clairvoyance or remote viewing, which is seeing through mind's eyes. It deals in precognition, which is mind seeing the future. Also, it deals in psychokinesis, where mind is influencing the matter. It also deals in the life after death issues. In past few episodes, we have delved into each of these aspects of parapsychology. We have had an overview. We had seen what progress has been made in these fields, what research has been done, and what could be the way forward. We still, the subject is not fully explored, and we have not reached the secrets or the factors which cause these phenomena. The phenomena happen, these are real, but we do not know how they happen and what causes them. So there is a need for causal research for these phenomena. I have suggested some views about how we can proceed towards causal research. In fact, my books are written on this, which talk about trending parapsychology towards causal research. These books are selling on Amazon, and if you find the talks which I had given interesting, you can get further material from those books. The parapsychology we talked is a phenomena which is least explored but is paranormal. It is not connected to our day to day work. But today I am starting a series of videos in which I shall be talking about a subject which is which is connected to our day to day working, our day to day life, and we will be seeing what all is needed to be done for going towards further in our how it can help in our day to day life. I'll be taking up a topic which is again least explored. The topic is workplace management. We all know that we have got colleges, universities which teach us deeply into our subject, but they hardly touch upon the subject of how to excel in workplace. We are masters in our own field of knowledge and we apply that knowledge in workplace, but we find it very difficult to cope up with the stress and challenges which workplace poses before us. So there is no literature available, no tips available for you to meet the challenges which you face in workplace. When you pass out of a college and enter into the workplace, you are just like a small kid being thrown in the troubled waters. And you have to swim yourself. You have to find your own solutions using your own intellect and thinking when you face a challenge. There are many challenges which you face in workplace, and I had passed through all those challenges in 45 years of my professional career, out of which 25 years has been at the top position of general manager or vice president. I'm giving you the fruits of my knowledge, the learning which I got. I'll be sharing with you all, and especially this will help the young generation people who are just coming out of colleges and entering into the workplace. The learnings we are getting and learnings you will get, those people who are young and budding managers, they will be also getting the learnings through these episodes which I'll be putting before you. As you know, learning happens throughout our life, but there are some transformational stages in our life which contribute maximum to our learning. We learn throughout our life, that is true, but our learning starts when we start going to preschool. At a preschool, we are under a very congenial atmosphere where teachers are taking care of us and we are learning together with our same age people, same age old kids who are with us and sharing the experience of learning. The learning at the preschool is under the very careful and disciplined eyes of our teachers and at home by our parents. But as we go into school and then enter into the college, we find that the parental controls go away and we are becoming more and more free. So at that stage, the transformation is happening in our life as we are maturing from boy or girl to adult. Those are the times when frequently people go astray because they are not having a sense of rightness or correctness, and if they are uh, tempted by the freedom which they got, they may go astray. But still, there is some control by the teachers who are teaching you, even though parents are at a distance. As you pass out from the colleges, you get into the workplace, which is free for all. Here, there are no teachers, no classroom sessions, but you are of your own to act in a way which suits you. And this results in a lot of challenges. In these episodes, we'll be talking about all those challenges and how we shall overcome it, how we'll be finding ourselves excelling in the workplace. I'll just give you a brief outline about the future lectures which is going to come. I shall be touching upon the topics of workplace, what it is, where where it is, what are the types that we have, and how we are going to uh, work at the workplace. What are the important things like managing people at workplace, how you manage your communications, how you resolve the conflicts which occur at the workplace, how as a leader you lead your team, you build your team and do the teamwork. We shall also be discussing about what systems you can develop which you take the organization on continual improvement. We have learned about the transformational stages which I talked to you, that is the preschool where we you were as kids were trying to learn along with the same age old kids with your teachers. Then you had gone to the colleges, and then there you had got in-depth knowledge about the subject or field of study which you have chosen, which you shall be applying in the workplace. Then you entered in the workplace and you started working, applying your knowledge. But the workplace posed a lot of challenges, and those challenges and how to resolve them will be covered in my lectures. What is the meaning of workplace? and what are the types of workplace. That we shall be discussing. First, what is the meaning of workplace? Workplace has some activities which you do where we are delivering the fruits of knowledge which you have earned through in your colleges and institutions. We will be applying those knowledges in the field of area where you study. With at workplace, you have to deal with people. People are different from machines. You have to deal with machines as well. But dealing with people is the most difficult part in the workplace. You will be doing goal oriented tasks. All your knowledge, all your academic knowledge, and all your maturity will be used towards taking the organization towards its goal and your contribution therein. You will be building your own career path while you do work in the workplace. You will be having applying this knowledge, you will be applying your knowledge and you will be climbing the stairs of your organization and you will be taking the organization towards its path or its goal. What are the different types of jobs you do when you enter into a workplace? Say if you have come from a legal background, you have done LLB or LLM, you may be in the court where you will be working like a judge or a lawyer, or if you have done engineering, maybe uh, you will be working in factories, or if you are a software engineer, you will be developing systems and working in office. If you have done medical, you may be a doctor and maybe working in office, maybe working in hospitals. There will be the types of workplace which you will be entering into could be factories, could be a bank, could be a court, could be international airports, could be hospital. You may be working in scientific organizations, you may be working in colleges as professors, or you may be working in malls. There will be different types of workings which you will have, and different types of workplaces you will have. But at all the workplaces, one thing will be common, that you will be among people, you will be have to manage people. Managing people at workplace is the most crucial and critical area which you have to which you have to undertake. Managing people, if you are able to manage people successfully, your career path is assured and you are going to be successful. But it is very difficult to manage people. Managing people is different than managing machines. Machines have some ready-made buttons. You press the button and you get the desired result. But for people, it is not so. People are different than machines because they have thought, they have got emotions, and it is also their mood which affects them. So, a way of working or a way of handling a person is going to be different at different times. Not to talk of managing different people. Managing different people may require different types of actions by us, which may not be consistent all the time. These actions may change as the situation changes and the situation demands. Brains are there with people. Brains or artificial brain is also with machine, but machines do not have mind. It is the mind which makes people different from machines. Peter Drucker says that there is no right way to manage people. That is very true. There is not a single way by which you can manage your people. Managing people at workplace means you have to understand the person's mind, which is a very difficult thing. Mind is very complex. Emotions are at the helm of affairs when you are dealing with mind, with people. So when you deal with people, you have to be very, very careful. and you have to be in their shoes to understand them. We'll be in this particular series of lectures, we'll be talking about principles of managing people. I will not be able to cover all the principles of managing people in this episode. Maybe this episode will only look at practice at three of the principles of managing people. That is, practice what you preach, lead by example. And second is, you have to be very, very critically observant. Unless you are observant and you are better at observing than your subordinates, you do not gain respect from your subordinates. Being critically observant helps you a lot in excelling in the workplace. You have to be one man up. This one man upship comes only if you have developed observation power which is more than average. And in this episode, I'll touch upon effective communication. How we communicate is a thing which leads us to acceptance by our subordinates and gets our work done through them in a successful manner. If your communication is poor, people do not get at the meaning and your work suffers. So these three aspects may be covered in this particular episode, and in the coming episode we'll be talking about good listening capability, we'll be talking about courage of conviction, we shall be talking about ability to protect your people so that you guard them, ability to lead the people through your integrity, and how you resolve conflicts, and how you ensure that you are fair and consistent in dealing with people. You have to respect self-respect of others. While dealing with people, you have to act in a way so that you you are treating others as you wish to be treated in a situation. Each situation demands a different way of treatment. So keep yourself in center and act in a way and treat people as you would like to be treated when you are in that situation. So the first aspect of managing the principle is to lead by example. Managers must be trustworthy and they should lead by example. They must communicate and listen to their employees while gaining their support and commitment. There is not one way to treat people. For the first 21st century management challenges, one does not manage people. The task is to lead people. And if you have to lead, you have to lead by example. If you do something and you preach something else, you certainly lose credibility in the eyes of your subordinates and they do not respect you. For example, if you take leaders, Gandhiji was a preacher of non-violence. We know him for his stand which he took of non-violence while fighting against the British. He fought the British brutality but did not budge from non-violence. So he preached non-violence and we saw that nation followed him through non-violence and he was successful in the end. He was accepted as a mass leader because he he did what he preached. He practiced non-violence and he preached non-violence. So this non-violence was accepted by the countrymen and they rose against the British Empire. There is another example which I want to quote to you is about our current Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Narendra Modi works hard. He works 18 hours a day and then he preaches his bureaucrats to work hard. Unless he himself works hard, he cannot get the same working hard from his subordinates, that is, the bureaucrats. If you recall Shastriji, during the food crisis days in India, he wanted the nation to skip a meal a week, and he first himself did it and then exhorted the countrymen to skip a meal once a week. If you have to be a good manager, if you have to lead the people, the first thing is that your behavior should be such that there is no duality found. Your behavior should be consistent in what you are asking others to do. I'll give you an example from my professional career. When I was working in an organization, I had joined a group of companies of which I was general manager for factory operations. The first day of my factory, when I reached the factory, my uh, my MD accompanied me, and he wanted me to accompany him to the shop floor. We were in a production area where we were having injection molding machines, and those machines were producing caps and plugs of the bottles, and we were making bottles on hollow ware machines, that is blowing machines. While in the factory shop floor, he stopped at a machine and asked me, Naresh, what good things do you see on this machine? I was encouraged to tell him so many good points about that machine. That machine is producing caps at a good speed, lot of production is coming out, and people are very attentive, engineer is very attentive, operators are very attentive, there is orderliness all around, and there is good output which this machine is giving. He was impressed. He said, yes, you have told about good points. Now, do you find any bad points while standing near this machine? Can you find any bad points? I looked around and I found everything was in order, and I really could not find any bad point. So then he smiled and he said, Naresh, look, you are looking at that hopper. That hopper has to have a lid. Is it having a lid? I looked at the hopper, and to my dismay, I found that lid was missing. The person had got up on the hopper, he had fed the raw material into the hopper. While climbing down, he had forgotten to put the lid on. So he said, what will happen if the lid is not on the hopper, Naresh? I was, I had to agree to him. Sir, if the lid is not on the hopper, there will be contamination which will go into the fed material, and that contamination from the air will certainly cause some defects like black spots. He said, after I go from here, you please ask the people to just analyze the rejection and tell me how much is the black spot causing, what percentage of defects is the black spot in the rejected material. I just kept quiet. I knew that he had a point there. Then second point, he said that look inside the machine. Do you find something? When I looked inside the machine, on the floor in the machine, inside the machine, I found some oil, which meant that oil was leaking from somewhere in the machine. I was rather ashamed how I could not see this? How could not I observe this? Whereas this man could observe all these things. So there had been some leakage somewhere, and we were not aware of it. Then he said, "Look at the barrel. When the machine is producing, the barrel has to be stationary. Do we find some movement?" Yes, there was movement. There was some jerky movement when the barrel was moving. Then another thing he told is that when the caps are being ejected from the mold, do you find some problem? And lo, there was some problem in the jerky ejection of output. The all these things he said will be affecting your production in just few minutes or mostly maximum in 1 hour. This machine, I think, is going to head for a major breakdown. He asked me to stop the machine and ask the maintenance crew to come and attend the machine and see what the faults are. I stopped the machine, and my maintenance crew looked into the problems and reported back after some time that the machine was heading for a major breakdown. And had we not stopped the machine then and there, we would certainly have gone in for a major breakdown. This incident opened my eyes. I became, I resolved that I shall be developing the observation power as my MD has, and I shall certainly become better observant than my subordinates. From then on, I made it a point to be very observant and uh, try to perceive the maximum out of a scene. I resolved not to miss any important point when I'm seeing some things, and over a period of time, I became very, very observant. And to date, wherever I worked, my subordinates really looked at me with admire in their face at how observant I am. This observation power makes you become one man up, and your subordinates certainly admire you. So, my advice to you, the young managers and leaders in your own areas, to develop this observation power. For this, you have to be very attentive. In our childhood, we used to have a observation power test where our teacher used to come and put several things on a table and asked you to gaze at those things for a minute, and you were asked to keep grasping what all you are seeing, and after a minute they used to put a sheet over it, and then they used to ask you to jot down whatever you saw. I don't think any of us could write down all the things correctly. We used to maximum score we used to get getting the things correct by observing was about 70%. Even now, you may be finding observation tests like the one I am putting on the screen, where you have to make asked to find five differences into identical pictures given a slot of time. And many a times you fail to grasp all the five things during the short time. These are the observation power tests. You can test your own observation. I give you a short video on which observe your own uh, you can observe your own observation capacity. Here it goes. So, if you are able to you are five, you need to improve your observation power. It is very necessary that we be in the range of 90% while we observe the things. You can develop this power yourself. Only you have to make an effort and keep on trying. I show you another video which will test your observation power. It's very amusing. Just watch.
This is a test of selective attention. Count how many times the players wearing white pass the basketball. How many passes did you count? The correct answer is 15 passes. But did you see the gorilla?
Did you see the gorilla? That is the question. Many of us miss to locate the gorilla who is coming and beating his chest while you are counting the number of basketball
This
passings.
video is from research by Daniel
I,
Simmons and
for
Christopher
one,
Chabris and is
before I
copyrighted.
developed my observation power,
It is
could
available
not
for use in
notice this
talks,
gorilla
training, and
when I
teaching
saw this
on
video.
DVDs from
This,
VizCog
this is a
Productions.
small video, but it is an
Learn
eye
more
opener.
at theinvisiblegorilla.com.
Many a times we see things but do not perceive it. We see things but we do not perceive it is the reason, which is mostly in cases of accidents. We may be observing but not seeing the oncoming car. It is not perceived, so it collides with us. So observation is very, very
This is a
important
test.
in our way of working. And if you are observant and if you are very critically observant, you get to know many things which other people hardly observe and find out. And this is a virtue which keeps you as a good leader. I shall be taking the third principle now, which is effective communication. I shall not be able to complete all the aspects of this part of lecture because this is a vast area. I'll be just touching upon some of the points of effective communication and shall leave the rest for the next episode to come. The communication is very important because unless a person understands what you desire him to do, he cannot really give you the results. I just quote one example from my real life. While I started my career as a QA executive in a glass factory, I had an occasion to go to the cabin of one of my sales officers. When I entered his cabin, he was giving some instructions to his subordinate, and I was watching. I was really amused to see how the instructions are being given. To impress upon his subordinate, he was using jargons. He was using so difficult words which were difficult to comprehend. And I was all the time thinking in my mind the condition of the poor chap who was listening his instructions. I knew for sure that the poor chap must not be getting what is supposed to be done by him. And after the communication or instructions were over, I just asked at the his assistant left the cabin. I just asked my friend, "Do you think your work which you have given will be done successfully?" And he said, "Yes, he has to do it." And he said, "But he should understand what you have told. You have told him, but I feel that he has not understood anything." Then what he said, "It is his problem. I have communicated. Now it is his duty to understand and do the things." I really felt very sorry for this young man who does not know that communication has to be two-way. What you tell a person has to be understood by him in the same manner in which you have told him. If you tell him something and he understands something else, this is not the way it should be communicated, and it is not the way to get the desired results. Most often it so happens that you communicate something, you wish to communicate something, but the language or the way you are communicating, it has something wrong in it, that the message which reaches the receiver is something different than what you had tried to say. I give you another example. I had a driver who was little slow in understanding. I had realized that. So whenever I was giving him instruction, I was getting feedback from him, and I used to ask him, "What have you understood? Please repeat." And he used to repeat, and many a times I found that he had not understood what I was asking him to do. One day I forgot this, and we had to go to a another city which was about few kilometers away, where I had to attend a seminar in Deluxe Theatre. I told my driver, "Come, we'll go to that city and take me to Deluxe Theatre." We started our journey. It was about 30 minutes drive, so I had a little nap and went to sleep. When I got up, I found him that he had reached the destination and told me, "Sir, we are here." And when I saw outside, he had brought me to Meenakshi Cinema Theatre. For a moment, I was annoyed, and then I thought, no, it's my mistake. I asked him, "Where did I ask you to go?" He said, "You told me to come to Meenakshi Theatre." Then I said, "No, I had to go to Deluxe Theatre where I had to give lecture." Anyway, the place was not very far off, so we started the car and we reached the Deluxe Theatre, and I attended my seminar. But the learning which you get from this episode and the one I told you earlier is that communication has to be very clear, and you have to ensure that the person who is receiving the communication has really received the same exactly same communication which you wanted to give, and there is no difference between the message which you gave and the message which he actually received. So their feedback is very important. Feedback could be the verbal feedback, as I bluntly asked him to repeat the things, or you could also get the feedback in terms of his gestures and other way. But one must remember that communication is a two-way process. If you say something and the other person does not receive the same way, your work will not be done, as was the case with my sales officer. There are 7 C's of effective communication, and I shall be touching upon all these one by one in the coming episodes. And we shall be seeing how you can communicate effectively and become a successful leader. Now, in the upcoming videos, we'll be talking about the remaining principles of managing people, in which we'll start with the 7 C's of communication, and we shall go on analyzing each C and shall try to become a effective communicator. Conflicts are another things which eat away a lot of your time and energy. And if you are not adept at managing conflicts at workplace, you do not remain a good leader. So we'll be talking about how the conflicts arise and what steps you should take to successfully resolve the conflicts. We'll be talking about leadership in a broader sense. As a manager, you have to be a leader, and what leadership qualities you should possess apart from the ones which we talked above: being observant, being effective communicator, and managing conflicts. As a leader, you will have to do teamwork. I'll be talking about teamwork and team building, and we shall be giving you some tips of how you develop and manage systems suitable to your organization so that your organization goes in for continual improvements. Now, I talked continual, not continuous. There is a difference. Continuous improvement are the improvements which you can do but cannot sustain, whereas continual improvements are the ones which have sustainable systems built into it. It is like climbing a slope. When you climb a slope and reach at the top, it is a continuous improvement. But here you have climbed the top, but there is a chance that you can slide down because there is no sustainable places or stages you have kept in the system. And continual improvement is like stairs that you climb one stair. Now you cannot fall down. You have to go up, up, and up only. So we'll be talking about all these things, and I'll be taking up these all aspects one by one in the coming episodes of mine. If you want to know more about how to go in for workplace management, my book is selling on Amazon and Flipkart, which you can have it from there and read it. It is a beautiful book which will certainly give you a lot of tips, especially to the young budding managers and executives who have just passed out from the college. This book is a must read for them. Please read this book and keep tuned. I shall be talking to you more and more about these things in the coming episodes. Thank you. Thank you for patiently listening me.